Good morning, it is February the 7th and this is our first official day in Boston. Today we are planning on going to the New England Aquarium and the Freedom Trail.
Yeah, so excited for the Freedom Trail.
Sounded so sincere.
I always say yay. No, I actually really am excited for the Freedom Trail. Should be good to walk in the footsteps of the Founding Fathers. And the aquarium should be pretty good. I like the animals.
Fish. Very good. And now that it is daytime, this is the view from our hotel room. Jackie, how do you feel about the day?
I've ate since breakfast yesterday, so I'm looking forward to food. And I said I'm looking forward to the Freedom Trail and the other stuff we're doing.
This is the first one I've seen! Isabel! I need someone to hold the camera. Isabel! This is the first sign I've seen. So we were worried we wouldn't find a Starbucks because we've been having Starbucks every morning in New York. And then I saw the Izzy poster and Izzy directed us towards the Starbucks. And me and Jackie were able to get our usual. Don't be too fast.
Don't chase them, you're meant to let them come to you. And only touch their backs.
I'm big and scary.
That one.
You're not supposed to chase them, just remember that.
Got it yet?
Stick your hand in. I seriously can't believe one here. Oh, it's so cool. Oh, that's so cool.
I found Dory.
This must be Dory pre-Marlin.
It's squishy.
Hey, jellyfish.
No.
Is that sarcasm?
just left the aquarium. They had some cute fish and sea lions and turtles.
Very cute sea lions and penguins.
Penguins were especially.
Now we're gonna go look at the harbour and wharf and then go to the Freedom Trail.
Should we go over to that sign looking thing over there?
But more specifically, many of them are from Lincolnshire. Now, I know we have at least one Englishman here. There's a small town in Lincolnshire, which starts with a B and ends with an Austin. Boston, yes. Many of these Puritans hail from Boston. John Cotton, who was one of the main Puritan preachers, his home is there as well. So they land here in 1630, and almost immediately they name this place after a place they're from. Just the way they do things. Indeed, look around you, we're in New England. So unlike most Bostonians, I'm going to follow the traffic laws. He's the richest man in Boston. He's probably the richest man in New England. He is definitely one of the richest people in the entire New England, in the entire, British North America. How did he get his wealth? Well, the old-fashioned way. He inherited it, yeah. It's just water, everyone. Got really quiet here. So the next grave, let's actually scoot in a little.
Where's that rum?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have any rum with me. I don't know if you guys would like the rum that we made. Because apparently, I know, I wish this were the rum tour. So now we have probably the most famous person that we're gonna see their grave today, Paul Revere. There are 2 gravestones for him. What happened was not that he was a clone, no, neither was he cut in half. Actually, one of them is older and one of them is newer. I bet you can guess which is which. This is earlier. This is actually a footstone. Traditionally, you have a headstone marking the head of the deceased and a footstone. The headstone is gone. It would have been something like that up there, a slate headstone, which indicates he was not the most famous person upon his burial. He was obviously wealthy, well respected, but he was not this towering figure that he is today in the American mind. It wasn't until 1860 that he really became the Paul Revere that Americans are familiar with today. That is because of a poem. A poem was written by a Massachusetts poet named Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. It begins like this. Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. It's probably a name that some of you are familiar with. Samuel Adams. Now, most people do know him for his beer. Samuel Adams is known as a brewer. This would be news to him if he came back. There's no evidence he ever brewed beer in his life. His father brewed beer, and his father deeded him a maltery, being a place where malt is produced, an ingredient of beer. However, poor Samuel Adams had no mind for money, and he ran it into the ground very quickly. We have tried multiple times. First, this beautiful building. This is our old city hall, as you can see right there. It was built in the 1860s in a French style. It's one of the few French style buildings in Boston. Today, it is no longer a government building. We actually had to build a much larger building, a much larger structure, which is what we'll see at the end. It is definitely one of the most controversial buildings, but this is a beloved building. It was home to a very famous French restaurant called Petit Robert. Today it is another restaurant, lives in there, the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, strangely enough. It is also office space. But another thing, it's actually funny, we have layers upon layers of history of this site. This is also the site of the first school in North America. The first school established by the English settlers was not Harvard, it was actually a year earlier. It was Boston Latin School. Everyone's really most favorite part of this whole area is our delightful donkey. The donkey is interesting because it's actually very recent. It was found by an art collector in Florence. He brought it back to Boston. He sort of petitioned to have it installed somewhere in public. The best place they thought was right here. It's a little out of the way. It's a nice little photo op. However, they did not consider it would be seen as a political symbol. Here in the US, this is the symbol of the Democratic Party, the donkey. The elephant is a symbol of the Republicans, the 2 major parties. The idea that some people got was that this, because it's in front of an old city hall, was a symbol of the Democratic Party. It was not intentional. However, there were so many complaints, so many requests for an elephant that finally the city decided we'll hire an artist, we'll come up with a compromise. Right here is a small plaque. 2 footprints are in it. Each of them is an engraved elephant, and below it says stand in opposition. So indeed, both parties are represented. If anyone would like to be very brave and sit on it, you are welcome to. As you can see, it's very well loved. If you'd rather not, I completely understand. We won't hurt you or your crew if you stay out of our way. What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, good call. You see, we are non-violent by Boston terms. This site was where Anne Hutchinson, who was this dissenter against the Puritans, had her own house. Now, Anne Hutchinson, I can tell a brief version of the story. If you ladies want to talk later, we can talk more. She basically said, we don't have to only worship in our meeting houses, we can worship at home. And indeed, women can lead the Bible study. This was so ridiculous to the Puritans that they actually banished her. She was banished to New York. Terrible punishment. However, the joke's on them because guess what? Thomas Hutchinson, who was governor, he's actually directly related to her. Yeah. He did not fare so well either. He eventually had to flee Boston once things got a little scarier. Yeah, I really love this building, partially because of how it looks, but partially because of its long and storied history. It was, as I said, a famous publishing house where Dickens, Thoreau, Emerson, all these famous literary giants did their work. It was also a jewelry store, and of course today, they sell burritos. So we have reached what is known as the site of the Boston Massacre. The circle of stones marks where it occurred. Oh, they're so close. They're just not quite. This circle of stones is about 100, maybe a little over 100 feet from where it should be. The actual location of the event known as the Boston Massacre is right in the middle of the intersection. Oh, it used to be there, the circle of stones, but there was fear there might be another massacre, an automobile-related one, and so it was relocated.
So we just did the Freedom Trail, not all of it, but like the main parts. And our guide was actually really good. He was dressed up like from the olden times and quite funny, what do you think?
Yeah, it was really good, and he seems to know a lot, so that's good. It was a bit cold, but it was worth it, I thought, and we didn't pay that much, so I thought it was definitely worth the time we got given and like all the information we got and everything.
Yeah. Now we're at, what was it, Fennel Hall Marketplace. Yeah, and I don't know exactly what we're going to do next, but for dinner we're probably going to go get Chipotle at Anne Hutchinson's house. This is the Freedom Trail. We are sitting at the site of where Anne Hutchinson's house was, and it's a Chipotle now, so we got Chipotle.
Can I say the Chipotle?
And I got a bowl. So we just got back to the hotel from Chipotle, which is pretty good.
At Anne Hutchinson's house, look at the size of the drinks on this here.
Yeah. And bring it on in it. No, not that one. Not all or nothing. It's number 5. You got bring it on again. Bring it on all or nothing, bring it on in it to win it. Fight to the finish, I think. Something like that. It's on
Meanwhile, the what do you call it? The Freedom Trail was very interesting. The historical sites, I can't think of any of them at the moment.
Me and Jackie already vlogged about the Freedom Trail.
Well, you guys, it doesn't matter. I'm saying my part. It was all very interesting, and the aquarium was fabulous. And no one really vlogged about that. Definitely check them out.
And we stopped at a Walgreens. And I got goldfish. They used to sell these in Australia when I was really young, but then they stopped, and now I have them. Tomorrow we are going to Harvard and the museum's up there, and I'm gonna buy a Harvard jumper, which is gonna be like a 3 days worth of my budget on that one jumper. Yeah. And yeah.
I did my best, Jason. Tell us where the cup is, or your funny friend dies.
I remember the movie because the guy.
Go.
You're filming.
Go.
No, you go. Oh wait.
I'll just keep filming.
Time with the Apple on demand.